Hello everyone and welcome back to another hobby ramble here on Broken Brush. This is Matt. Addy isn't going to be here today. He is away doing family things, which is great. And so you're stuck with me for a while. But I've got this incredibly cool rat that we're going to paint up. I'm feeling it. You feeling it? Feeling rats? I like it. So, I don't know if you've been around, but I've been painting these rats up in kind of this, a little more artsy-fartsy style where I'm using lots of different colors that are going on. Let me go grab a couple of them real quick, actually. They live close to me. I've been trying to use kind of brighter colors and have them be, just generally speaking, a bit more interesting than just painting them white and brown and other stuff. Lots of bright colors. So we're going to try and do that with this guy too. And I'm thinking I'm leaning towards some reds and some blues and then maybe a little bit of white on top. I don't know. We're going to see where it goes. Trying to keep it limited to a few colors. It's really key to a lot of this. Don't overcomplicate it. And otherwise, we'll just see kind of where it ends up. Mr. Carvili, good having you. So for a lot of these rats, I've been using some more heavy body paints. You can use any sort of regular hobby paint that you're working with. It really doesn't matter that much. The big thing, or what I like about this, is when you have a heavier body, you can kind of put a paint brush stroke down and it's just going to stay there. You put it down and it just does that, and that's a really helpful thing to have when you're being a little bit more intentional about how you're putting your brush strokes down. So I think these are going to be my main colors that I'm working with for a lot of the underpainting. I've got this deep Prussian blue, which you'll see is kind of this almost violet blue color. There's this ultramarine blue. So when you're painting your ultramarines, they're very rarely does anybody actually paint them ultramarine, which I think is fun. But it's actually a pigment. What is it? Originally, like when they were digging it out of the ground, it was lapis lazuli, which was found across the sea from Rome, so ultramarine from the other side of the sea. Ha! Learn stuff. And I've just got a red paint. I think this is a primary red that Absalom does. So that's just to be my red throughout all this. So we're going to give everybody a little shake, put them down on the palette, and get to work. Who all we got here? Just Mr. Carvili? That's fine. I say that like just, but you know, I wouldn't. He is always quality company to have. So look at how blue that is. Man, the camera doesn't even know what to do with it. I'm gonna blob of that down. Immediately turn my paint water blue. Let's see. I'm going to put down my Prussian blue, my dark Prussian blue. You can see just kind of how dark and almost purpley it is. That's going to be our dark shadow. And then we're going to mix this up a little bit. Using this as our red. Again, just bright primary colors. Big blobs of paint. And to be a little cheaty about things, we're going to have this vanilla yellow, I think, scale 75 makes, which, I mean, really, it's just a nice kind of off-white color, or vanilla white. Yeah, vanilla white is what they call it. I'm gonna put a little bit of this brown down over on this side. Honestly, this brown is just because we don't have a complementary color to red out here. We don't have a green, and I don't really want to work a green into this. So we need some way to make brown and neutral tones out of that. So that's what we're going to be dealing with. Oh, and I have some actual white over here for just my high highlights for any white that I'm doing. Alright. French vanilla white. No, that I'd have to be wearing a beret if I did that one. Oh. Alright. So what we're going to start out with, for the folks that are spooked about wet blending things, that's all we're going to start with, and none of it matters. What we're going to try and do is get this darkest color blue in the shadows and mixing it in with some of our lighter blue here as well. This is a little bit more transparent too, so it'll be helpful to get in there. And then we work up to reds in the higher points. So just start. Look at that color. Oh, I love it. Put a little bit of that down on the back. You can see I zenithal, so I kind of have an idea of where my shadows are going to be. Man, these two work so well together, I almost don't want to put the red on there. Oh, I actually think there's some... I think there's some green pigment in the Prussian. Yeah, it has some phthalo green, which is interesting because it's why we're getting a little bit more brown tones out of this as we mix the red in, which is interesting. We're just gonna keep thinning that out, moving it around, work more in when we think it makes sense. Make sure that the paint's still wet while we're moving. Just hit some higher points in here. Move that around. This in here, working around still, trying to work relatively thin as we move around. You can see I'm not being too specific about where I'm putting my brush as I'm doing this. We're really just trying to sketch out some ideas for things. You can see that that's starting to dry up there, so I want to avoid it. And as I'm coming around front, I see the points that are the brightest white. Matt with a rat! Hey, Waystone. This is a club we're members of. Everybody should know that. Nobody watches us but our friends. That's okay, though. That means we get watched by our friends, which is great. By the way, I'm using a beater brush here. Don't use your good stuff. Yeah. So I was sitting there trying to think about what I wanted to paint today, and the truth is, I hadn't thought about it a whole lot, because I have been working on my Secret Santa gift for the Waystone Secret Santa, and that has been taking up just the most delightful space in my brain as I'm doing that. I finished my big commission I was working on. If I was a real streamer, this is where I'd have an image prepared to show you. But I don't have that, which is okay. We're gonna work this in here. More blues in the shadows. And we'll be able to work on top of this after a while. That's very high praise. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I'm just wrapping it up now. I have a little bit of freehand to do on it, and then I'm going to be good. Yeah, it's what I wanted to talk about in the stream. Is I wanted to talk about doing freehand because I've been doing a bunch of it for this, which is pretty fun. I also just like giving people presents, if I'm being honest. Just making some sort of intermediary shades in here. You can see how the purple that the red makes with the ultramarine is much more vibrant than the one that it's making with the dark Prussian blue. I think that is because there is phthalo green in this mix over here. It's not a perfect mix, so it's going to desaturate a little bit since they are complementary colors. So we're just going to keep working this around. Maybe a little bit thinner this time than how I have been working. I don't know. I feel like it's a little heavy in a few places. Working with some of these purples that I've generated. And we keep working in the shadows over here. How's everybody else's Secret Santa stuff working out? I hope you're having fun with it. I heard a couple people getting stressed, and I was like, oh man, don't get stressed. It's just giving your friends something fun. That's all it is. Down. So yeah, I couldn't do that, and I looked on my shelf, and I was like, what do I want to paint? I thought, you know, I've been sitting on this wrap for a minute. And they paint up pleasantly quick. You can kind of see that it's a thing that starts off pretty rough. And you just keep working it. Same as anything, painting. Just keep painting, and eventually it gets done. It's the real secret, everyone. Just paint until it's done, and then it'll be done. Maybe you missed it on last week's stream, but I am excited about some new projects that I'm doing. I have to finish these rats. But they've kind of been fun to just pick up and paint when I feel like I'm in the mood for it. And then I'm gonna do some white scars. So I found a video of somebody painting them in a certain way, and that just made my whole brain fire up. And just go, oh, you can do it like that, can't you? We're just gonna do big red line across this. And then work in our purples on the shadows. Purples first because it's going to move the line on the gradient slower. And then I'm going to do some of the blues underneath that because that will pull it from purple into this violet blue territory. Pretty pleased with how it's going on the front. Maybe need like a little bit of purple in the shadows here, or in the highlights, just to warm it up a little bit. I'll just hit under here, bring in some of this for this area under here. Hit up here with some red. We're going to try and follow the shape that it's going down here. See how it's kind of pulling down and towards this ball? I'm going to try and follow that with mostly one color. In this case, it's going to be our big red. So we're trying to set up kind of sections that are going to be the same color that will move your eye around. I'm going to try and have a big chunk where it's warmer here by the face, and then a big chunk where it's warmer over here leading into the bell, and then try and connect that along this staff that's going on there. Mats with rats. And I'm going to try and stipple in and smoosh in some of this blue paint. Might even make a wash of it eventually. But trying to make these dark points in these shadows that go along with this smoke look like something. Obviously, this is not about realism. Just kind of putting shapes down where it feels good. I think a lot of the painting that we do is so focused on trying to evoke some sense of realism that you don't get to play. Instead, I just want to put paint down in a way that makes me happy. We're going to try get this like a really nice light purple through here because we don't want to connect it through there. We don't want to draw everybody's eye there. Bring this on the back side over here, away from this light. Mix a little bit of red in with it. Hit this foot down here, because I actually think it matters that that foot be a little bit bright. Same with this tail over here. Addie can't hear any of the awful things we're saying about him. All of us, right? I just won't say anything too mean. Addie's having a good time, I'm sure. He was telling me. Yeah, I'm just like, we'll tune in while we're having family stuff go on. Because it just, you know how it is on holiday time. You need a little break towards the end of the night. Alright. We're going to hit these toesies just a little bit. We're going to hit this with this red. And maybe one little stripe back here. I don't know if you can see that on the little pipe. We're just going to kind of dabble it in like that. And I'm going to run some of this ultramarine up and under it. I like the ultramarine because it works as a shadow with the red, but it's also just incredibly vibrant. I saw it in the art store the other day and I thought, I simply must. I must have it. As you can see, anybody who's joining me new, fresh, we're not being very specific about this. We're being moody, we're being artistic. Putting some layers down. We're sketching. Where do we want color to be? Think about it as having places where you can make choices. Not being stuck to decisions that you've already made about color scheme. Grab some of these purples because this is kind of on the shadowed side of things for me, but I still want to have a little bit of warmth. Take some of this dark Prussian, pull it in here. See how everything swirls so nice? I think I might just put some little stabs of red in here. It might be fun. Now I made a deal with Flint that I'd trade him a rat because he's got the same set of rats. I'm excited for that. Oh, asking about the white scar method? I mean, there's no secrets. So one of the things that kind of just opened it up and changed the way I was thinking about it is he would paint a lot of the shadows and the undercoating of things green, because white is a pretty reflective color. You know, it's reflecting all the light around it, it's reflecting all of the colors around it. So it's kind of like black or like metals in that it's influenced by the environment that it's in. So often, whites that we see will have a greenish tinted shadow if we're in a natural environment. And so he has these green hues going on in the shadows of his white scars because they are on the planes, which I just think it made it click. For whatever reason, it made it all click through to me and got me all sorts of pumped about it. Even though I was definitely flirting with the idea of doing one anyway. Right on, Zach. Glad you had some success going climbing. I'm too big to climb. It starts getting scary eventually. Ooh, I really like this. These little moments where there's these big splotches of red that kind of got runny. Ooh, I like that. Let's see if I can make that happen back here a few more times. Let's see, what else we gotta do? I still need to get his little foot over here. And you can see how white it is from the zenithal, so we want to hit it with some of our red. And we keep working around. And then we keep working our blues around. My thought process for these rats is that they live in the sewer underneath a paint factory or something. There's just all sorts of wild colors showing up, and they just get all wrapped into worshiping those colors or whatever. I need more color back here. A couple moments of red are really great, but they're not doing enough heavy lifting. So I'm going to try and bring some brighter hue in. They have this nice kind of drippy fabric that you can kind of follow with your brush in a nice way. Keep in mind that red's a really transparent pigment, so it's going to be hard to get it to like cover in a thick, opaque color. But honestly, for something like this, you want it to be a little bit transparent, because you want to let all of this underpainting work for you. Let's see, we need some red in here, some red kind of coming down at this angle. And we just kind of move this down here a little bit, put this up here. We take some of these purples and sort of work around these hands. More color into here. Keep working our way around. Keep working our way around. More layers, more color. I'm always jealous of people who can climb. I always enjoyed going to climbing gyms. I'm just so darn heavy to move up and down a wall. So I just decided I'd get stronger instead. But I'm hoping to drop in on a workout day with a few folks from Waystone. Get some leg work in, baby. If only Monkey Man was here. They are strong folks. Alright. I think we are in a pretty good state as far as roughing out things, moving it in. Kind of make some ground soup here. Then we know this to be true. So I think I probably need to give this just a little minute. Let's put some more bright splotches. You see how gentle I'm being with my brush. This is why I said use a beater. Kind of want to throw some texture in there. Push the pigments around. This is for all the people who say you need to have an airbrush. You don't. You can do it with a brush. I kind of set this red to purpley blue lighting. See how it's lit this way. Moody. Honestly, you kind of stop right there if you didn't want to go any further. I think I'm going to bring a little bit more blue into the shadows over here, seeing with how blue influenced they are on the other side. Let me bring some of this ultramarine over here. Not just a Space Marine chapter. Look at that. Love it. You ever just get excited by whatever you're working on? When it's doing the thing you wanted it to do? Ugh, it's the best feeling. Let's see. We're just gonna cut that back a little bit. We're gonna kick the beat. Touching that, touching this. Moving across. Alright. Maybe a little ultramarine right here just to add a little bit of vibrancy. Boom, 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 boom. And a little bit more red on the other side. So, we know now. Now's when I want to start looking at the model and kind of figuring out what I want to do about things. This guy's got all these wraps around him and stuff. And I kind of want to make those a different color than this red that we're working with, but I kind of want to keep the influence of it. So I think what I'm going to do. Oh, she's. Hey, Tay. No, Dinah is out in the hall. She's vigilant, as always. So I'm going to bring some of this brown over here with the vanilla white I'm using. And we're just going to be putting down little touches. Again, we're just trying to stip and scribble and stretch, keeping some of the red around. Yeah. Especially as we get to... I mean, you could say the shadows, but honestly, I'm going to try and keep most of the red and the purple in the more interesting places that aren't, like, obviously in the highlighted area. Kind of see as that's coming across. This dude's just covered in them. Well, I was trying to start up the stream and Dino was like, my dog was like, oh, well, I need to be involved in this. Clearly. Which is the same thing Tycho does before we stream. Just want to be a participant, you know? Ooh, that was a little bright. Bring a little bit of this over. And we just keep going. When Bob Ross says happy little mistakes, that's kind of what he means. Just let it happen. It's going to. Keep hitting this guy's reps. Really only the highest highlights that we can find. In the least interesting places. You can see this isn't a very slow way to paint, but it definitely makes an impression. I like it as just something fun to do. Not everything has to have a purpose. Let's see how this wraps around him. I'm not sure I'm not even going to care about the backside of it. I'm just going to let it go a little bit. I love his little tummy here. Hey Ray, what's up, dude? Come on in, we're painting rats. Grab your own rat, make it fancy colors. Ray here is also a very skilled painter. He knows what he's doing. Rats, rats, rats. Hey, Rory. What's up? I'm just going to keep hitting all these little strappadoos he's got hanging around. Making them look, I don't know, organic. Just kind of stipply, scratchy moving. We want texture. This is not... This is not your Golden Demon entry. We're having a little bit too much fun for that. We're gonna see how far we can get tonight over the course of one stream. Let's do it. Oh yeah, we got all the heavy hitters. Hell yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing your conversions, dude. Sorry, I'm covering up my palette to see what paints I'm actually grabbing. And I realized that you might want to see that. I think I might leave his skin this red. It's kind of rad. I don't know. Don't think too hard about it. Oh yeah! Thanks for the call to action, Waystone. Smash the like button. Comment once it's posted. If you're not subscribed to us yet, hey, that's a cool thing to do. That helps us out a lot. Otherwise, just hey, keep hanging out. Tell friends who might like hanging out. This is basically what the streams are, except for as me and Addy both. We're just talking while we're painting stuff. Maybe a little bit more instructional than we typically get, but only because it's just me. And if people aren't talking, then I just have to make it up myself, you know? Oh yeah, Joey smashed that shit. Very dependable smasher. So we were talking about it a little bit earlier. How's everybody's Secret Santa stuff going? Without spilling the beans. I think I'm going to finish mine up tonight or tomorrow, depending on how it's going. I wanted to paint it on stream, but you know, it's just not going to do it. You don't want to give it away. This is actually reminding me a lot of how I painted Isaac's Black Templar's cape. So if you want to know how I'm doing stuff, man, this is how I'm doing stuff. I like his little belly button there. Hit these little arm wraps on the back side. Oh, I should probably get them on the front side though first, right? Again, we want texture, we want character, we want fun. We just stipple this stuff in. We're trying to just jam the pigments in there. Don't use your good brushes. Yeah, my niece struggles with some sounds, but I like row, row, row. Oh, nice. Not to do family business while I'm on the stream, but did you get the books I sent? Where that aunt and uncle just sending books for the kid? She's 2. She still likes books. Hopefully we'll continue to like books, but you know, you can only do so much. Not sure about this head. Just keep working. When you're not sure, just keep going. Gonna hit his teeth. Perfect little twofers. Not yet. Alright. I'll have to strangle the booksellers. They're independent booksellers, though. You lose Seattle street cred if you don't get it from a local bookshop. Let's see, so we got a bunch of bandages all done up. Like this, alright. I guess I should probably do... let's just leave the horns the way they are right now. Maybe we could take some of this brown. Let's mix in a little blue. Yeah, I like that. Well, this is going to be something that we work with for this. Staff. I'm going to take a little bit of this, move it over. Tapping it in. Kind of what I'm getting by tapping is it makes it so that any of the underpainting that's like hanging out in the shadows sticks around. So you can see that it's clearly still influenced by the same stuff. Like, we didn't spend all this time painting it that way just so that we can hide the fact that we painted it that way. Alright. Take a big chunk of those. Hit these same places that we got on the front side. I actually think this might be a little dark to start with. Yeah, there we go. It's one of the things when you're using a heavy body paint is that you have to remember that it sticks in the brush kind of in the order that you picked up the paint. So if you're mixing it around, sometimes things can get a little wild. You'll start painting and you'll be like, that was the color I was using 2 or 3 times ago. You really need to clean it out every once in a while. Everything sounding, looking all right? Yeah, I get it, Ray. There's a lot going on. There's always a lot going on. We want to grab this kind of mid value. You can see I'm testing it out on my thumb to see what it's actually going to look like. We're just going to hit this side so that we remember that it is cloth. Hey, Felicia. Bummed you can't hear. I would ask you all the hot family goss. Touching these little rapidoos. And I'm getting bored painting them a little bit, so I might switch to something else. Touching up here. Yeah, like I really like this moment where it's going from this kind of red to brown to white to blue. Ah, so cool. White. Well, this is still that off-white, but compared to these other ones, it's white. It's all about relativity, this stuff. I'm going for just a little highlight in the middle there with those. Right there. Right there, right there. Boom. Does the job. Alright. I'm happy with that side. This side probably needs lighter values. And the little band-aids. I really like them though. They look cool. Highlight here. Yeah, I think that's important. Connect it up here. touches. Maybe little touches on the other side. Yeah, looks good. Oh, I forgot that this guy has skin and stuff. And then a cloak. Probably can't all be the same color. Why can't it just all be the same color? I'm gonna touch this, because I think his belly needs a highlight. Always here for rats with tum-tums. Yeah, there we go. A little bit when it comes to his head is about directionality. So you got these wraps that are going around his head, and you need to be highlighting along the geometry of those. Because when you see these visible paintbrush strokes, I said it for you, Mr. Monkey Man. Tum-tums. Look at him. Can you see his tum-tum right in the middle? He's got a belly button and everything. Let's see, a couple more high highlights while I figure out how I want to paint the rest of them. Like, out of focus. How dare he? Do this, maybe. Yeah, maybe a little better. Alright. I do feel like I've painted this up in, like, what's it been? Oh man, we're almost done with an hour? Holy cow! Been having too much fun. Grooving, baby. Alright, I'm gonna do a little call to action where if you are not subscribed, please do. We're up to 41, makes my day every time. We've got all sorts of fun stuff that we like doing here. So please subscribe if you're watching. If you're here an hour later, still watching me dink around with rats, I think that'd be cool. I'm gonna paint this bell. This sort of color. Might be a little bit too light. Or too red. Yeah, too red. Yeah, you're right. It probably really loves that. I've heard that happens. You just get dollars. They're not my dollars, though, so I don't know where they're coming from. Let's see. I think we might just need a black. This is Rubber Black by AK, which is just something that just a paint I really enjoy working with. Get out my smaller brush. And we're gonna grab some of this white over here, grab some black. Yeah, and this looks like rat skin to me. Maybe a little bit of life in it. Yeah, we'll get a little bit of red in there. Nice. Got a gray rat. around. It's kind of funny because he doesn't have really that much face to him. It's just got just a little bit of face, not much. Touch in here, touch up on his hands. Touch up here, touch up on his hands. We just gently pat his tum-tum with this brush. Touch his toes. I'm gonna keep building up this color. A little bit of this. It's important to have a little bit of red in the flesh tones that I'm working with. Touch his toes. Do it on the back too. Just gently, but moving with a little bit of speed. Sometimes it's good to move quickly just so you don't care too much about a thing. Little rat. Like, we're not gonna change heaven and earth with a rat. This little moment here, my brown mix from before. And I'll remove a little bit more yellow into this. I didn't say yellow, it's this off-white, but it's a very yellow white. We're just going to touch a couple of the highlight spots. We don't want to be too fancy with this again. We're just trying to communicate that this is a different material in that it's his face and or tone. Give him a highlighted belly, you know? Highlight the most important features of the model, aka the belly. Touch this. Do the same thing on the back. Touch his little leg here. So I've got a bunch of paints coming that I'm looking forward to playing with. I'm happy people are talking about that. That's a little green for me. I actually think this rubber black might be a really good black to use with this because it's a little green to contrast with the red. Was I accidentally brilliant? Maybe. We're just gonna hit the metal over here. And again, we're not trying for full coverage here. We want to suggest that maybe this is actually a different surface and hasn't just been caught up in the vibe, which is this red that's happening. Now I think I'm going to highlight that heavily. But I'm going to do that with just white because I don't want to lose the coolness that's going on there. So this is going to be kind of non-metallic metal situation here. So we are thinking about high degrees of contrast, which is what we're accomplishing with that blue that we talked about, or the fact that this is cooler than the red. We're also going to want to make it just a little bit between the dark and the bright here. We want to have very few, very chunky steps between those if we want to sell fast and easy non-metallics. I can do that on this bell over here too. Now I'm going to take a big dollop of white over here, so that's almost white. We're going to do the same thing again. See how it's has that influence from the blue, and we're hoping that I made the right level of steps. Yeah, I think we can pull this off. Gentle touches through here. Gentle touches inside of our other highlights. Don't make them too big. Little highlights, little highlights. This is something I am still very much learning. What better things to do? We'll do the same thing on the back. Just baby little touches. Yeah, there we go, there we go. There we go. I think that might be my wrap for the night. Let's take a look. Well, to make my palette a little bit more boring, take a look. I like how everything is sticking out. I think the gray kind of might take a little bit away from it. I think I need to break up his face a little bit. I think I need like an orange, or maybe even like a, I don't know, something needs to make that like ball that they have around their eye stick out a little bit more. For an hour paint job, I don't think we're talking too bad. It's rough and ready, but it communicates the right things. I like it. And I like all of you. So thanks for joining us. Like I said a couple times before, if you're not already, it'd be really cool to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment afterwards. Tell me what you're working on. Tell me what your Christmas painting plans are going to be. And otherwise, I will catch you next time. Keep on hobbying.